Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room for another edition of Transfer Central. Before we get into the news, I'm joined by three lovely lads, Jay, Drew, and Anthony. Jay, I'll start with you. How are you doing today?
All good, mate. Looking forward to pre-season starting shortly, so can start looking forward to a bit of footy again.
Yeah, Drew, yourself, how are you doing today in the lovely land of America?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the city of Vegas right now. So, been gambling a lot, losing some money. So hopefully that turns around. But I'm not bothered if Liverpool get another purchase or two.
You're all in on red, I say. But Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Charlie. How are you doing as well?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's if you're in the UK, you'll know it's like cold but still dead humid, and it's like the worst type of weather in the world. So, just sitting here in a nice room with my laptop boiling, even though
Charlie,
it's
it's
cold.
108 in Vegas. I don't want to hear anything about
See,
weather.
but it's not like 99% humidity there. The honest to God, Drew, if you come over here, you're like the humidity in summer is diabolical. It's so horrible. But we could have a chat on the weather all day and talk about how we're wusses compared to America. But if you are new to the stream, make sure you leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to our channel for daily content. We release videos daily and also stream every night at 7:30. But the first story, we're going to start with some news surrounding Curtis Jones coming from Neil Jones. He has claimed that Liverpool have no intention of giving up on Curtis Jones anytime soon, despite rumours that he could be on loan or sold. They rejected an ambitious loan offer from Leeds last August and reported a £15 million bid from Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa were given similarly, like they were shut down as well, rejected a bid basically. But Jay, we don't have Matty on. Matty would be like, Curtis Jones is the best in the world. He's going to be the next Thiago or whatever. But I'm surprised that someone's actually made a bid of 15 million for Curtis Jones. I mean, we were never going to sell him, but clubs seem to be interested, even if Liverpool aren't willing to sell, aren't they?
Yeah, because there definitely is a player there. There's no doubt, and he's got ability, mate. And he's probably the closest thing to another creative midfielder we've got, other than Thiago. He's good on the ball, can see a little pass on that, but I do think a loan move would do in the world of good. I don't think he's ever going to be a nailed on week starter for Liverpool, and I think he needs that to get to the level that he's the potential to reach his potential, basically. So I wouldn't sell him, especially considering we haven't brought any midfielders in. But I think a loan move would do in the world of good, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Druitt's, the fan base is very 50-50 with Curtis Jones. I feel like people either love him or people are sort of like, just get rid of him. He's never going to reach his quality. I mean, he's still young. Jurgen Klopp does clearly trust him, but you can't help but feel a low move would benefit him. If he could join a team even like Leeds or Gallagher. We saw Gallagher explode with Crystal Palace. If he went to Crystal Palace, it really helped him start week in, week out. I feel. I mean, are you on the same boat as that?
Yeah, I definitely think if he wants to further his career, he needs to start game in, game out. But I'm also hesitant. Like, if we send him out on loan, we need to bring in a midfielder. I'm not comfortable with the likes of Keita, Henderson, and Thiago just on injury records. So, Curtis Jones, he can do a job. He's a squad player. When you put him in, he almost reminds me of Takumi Minamino in the fact that you're not like, oh God, it's Minamino in the team. You're depending on the game. But Jones has shown he has quality and that he can do a job for the team. So that, and boyhood Liverpool fan, that always builds up for me that he's going to give so much more because he knows what it means. He knows as a supporter, a local lad, what it means to play for the club. So I think that just adds bonus points to his being a Liverpool player. But if we were to get him on loan, we definitely need someone coming in.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, we definitely shouldn't sell him, right? I mean, that's very it's a very premature move, and 15 million's a bit. I feel like a bit of an insulting offer from Steven Gerrard's side. I mean, he's still 21, 22. He's working under Jurgen Klopp. I mean, he would probably say himself that he's more of a 10, and we've had this discussion in our chat if Liverpool moves to a 4-2-3-1, then maybe he can shine a bit more there. But what are your thoughts on potentially loaning him or even selling him?
I think, like what Drew said, I wouldn't be completely against the loan just so he can get some minutes. But the issue is our midfield just can't stay fit for a whole season, and the quality drop off is like just another level, man. I really don't want to see Chamberlain putting on another Liverpool shirt for next season. So Curtis Jones should be the next option whenever Henderson, Keita, or Thiago are injured. And I think he's proved it more than enough that he's good enough to start for us. Not necessarily 38 matches a season, but like Tottenham, I think, not last season, but the season before, he played a really good match at Anfield. Obviously, he stepped in against Man City at Anfield this season where we picked up a point, but he's never really going to reach his full potential if he's not starting regularly. But so that's why I think most of the fan base are conflicted. But I think maybe this is the season where he just steps up. I think that the fact we're not signing another midfielder says Klopp just trusts the midfield that he's got. And Jones is definitely good enough, and he's proved it many a times that he can start for us.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I want to ask you. This has been a bit of a discussion in the chat. Gary said here, Elliot has the highest ceiling. A lot of who's better, Curtis Jones or Harvey Elliott. I mean, Jay, in your opinion, who do you think? I know Harvey Elliott's younger. He's got a bit more flair. He did start off the season. It does seem like Jurgen Klopp rates him a bit more than Curtis Jones. But who do you think's gonna break out this season? Curtis Jones or Harvey Elliott?
Good question, to be honest, mate. I think last season they both started really well until they got their injuries. Elliott was arguably our best player until he got injured. I think Elliott slightly edges it on ability, just with his youth and how big an influence he was having on the side before he did pick up his knock. But in saying that, I thought Jones had a really good run of games before he picked up his knock as well. So they both got bags of potential. It's just managing the minutes for both of them. And whichever one gets the chance first, they're obviously going to have to grasp it because there is only one spot.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, we've obviously talked about potentially, we've all agreed we shouldn't sell him. But what do you think is an offer that Liverpool couldn't turn down this summer? For instance, Aston Villa, we know they're splashing money around. If let's say Steven Gerrard come in with, it's never going to happen, but if they come in with 35, 40 million, would you sell him?
Yeah, that's actually, you must have been reading my mind. I was thinking 30, 35 million. That would be the number. And to be honest, I could see teams spending money on that. You're buying for potential, you're taking a little risk. But I mean, we sold Dominic Solanke for 20 mil to Bournemouth. We should be getting at least upwards of 30, especially with the British tax for someone like Curtis Jones. So I think if you're getting towards that amount of money, then we could use the profit on that transfer and get into the market, and along with some other outgoings like Sadio Mane, we could make a dent and actually get someone into the midfield that could challenge for a starting position.
Yeah, 100%. I think Ryan Brewster's another good example of that. I think he played like 2 games for us and ended up getting sold for 25 million, and now he's in the Championship. Actually, he's being arrested for assaulting a fan, which is absolutely lovely. But Anthony, I feel like Drew knows absolutely nothing about that. But Anthony, we've talked a bit about going on loan. If Liverpool were to send him out on loan this summer, where do you think would be a good option for him to go?
Probably follow the same footpath as Conor Gallagher and just go to Crystal Palace. One of the sort of mid-table Premier League sides. I think he's better than the likes of. He's being promoted. Nottingham Forest. He's better than the relegation sort of fodder. I think he belongs a top sort of a place where he can actually show his attacking quality. I don't think defensively he's like the most great player in the world, but From an offensive point of view, he's definitely got his dribbling is on point, and we know he could take a long shot. Obviously, we saw it against Everton. He fancies one at least, but yeah, but maybe a mid-table Premier League side.
Yeah, 100%. I think Fulham would be a great, with Fabio Carvalho leaving too, he could slot in behind Mitrovic, maybe, contribute to them. We've got a good working relationship with Fulham. So you never know where he could go. But before we go on to our next story, if you are new, make sure you do leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. We have daily videos and stuff, so make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification on. Okay, next story. Nico Williams. Liverpool have apparently turned down a bid for Nico Williams. The price has not yet been revealed, but there's a lot of rumours saying it's £11 million up front with 3 million or 4 million add-ons, which is 15 million. It's around the valuation that Liverpool are asking for. Jay, do you think Liverpool are being a bit stingy here? There's some reports saying they're holding out for 20 million. Surely it's sort of just say, you know what, Nico, thank you, but maybe it's time to go.
No, I've got to be honest, I wouldn't take 11 million for Nico. He's a young lad, and I think he's a prospect. I think if Trent were as good as he was, Nico gets more game time. I just think Trent's that good that you're never going to beat him. You're never going to get in ahead of him. Even I love Tarek Lamptey. I don't think Lamptey would get in the team over an Arnold. So I think 20 million's a fair price, mate. Or 15 with add-ons that lead to 20. I wouldn't take no less than that, no chance. One of the standout players for Wales when he plays for them. Every time as well, it's not a one-off. Done really well at Fulham. So no, I think that's a fair price. I think 11 million's a bit of a joke.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, he only went into Fulham in January, and pretty much started straight away from them and was very important in their final push to win the title. I mean, Jed Spence, who has just had a season in the Championship, there's rumours he's going for 25, 30 million. I mean, Nico Williams is an established Wales international. He plays every single friendly for them. He's extremely highly rated. I mean, Jay saying 20 mil, but I think that's I would agree that 20 million. I think at least 15 million up front, add-ons, whatever. But 20 million does seem to be, even that could be seen as a bargain. I mean, he can play on the wing as well. He's 6'1", so he can probably go up front for a bit too. But do you think Liverpool will hold out for the 20 million?
I think 15 mil up front might be, again, just money in the hand that they take. Because I agree with Jay and I agree with you that, he could go on potentially to be a phenomenal player and probably will and would merit a higher transfer fee. But I just don't see him getting that while at Liverpool. He's never going to get unless Trent has an, horrific injury, he's never going to get the run of games to command a fee like that. I think Klopp has Gomez in ahead of him anyway, but maybe he does another loan move and ups his transfer fee through that to around the 20 mil mark. But I just don't think he can get a higher figure than that when he's going to be on the bench if he stays at Liverpool for the majority of games.
Yeah, 100%. Again, guys, apologies. There's like a little tiny fuzz when Drew talks. Apologies for that. We've had mic issues. Drew can try and fix it now, but it wasn't that bad last time, so you might just have to deal with it. Apologies. But Anthony, I mean, Nico Williams has to be sold this transfer window, doesn't he? It's not a case of Liverpool, holding out like they did last year or sending him on loan with Calvin Ramsey joining. Maybe Liverpool have dealt himself a bit of a poor hand. He could have maybe held out for a bit more if we didn't have Calvin Ramsey back up. But it's time to go, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not his biggest fan anyway. I think he's awful. Whenever he has played for us, I'm just not impressed, man. You know what it is? Probably because we rate Trent so highly, or we know just how good Trent is, and the drop off from him to Nico Williams, it is just like another 10 levels, let's say. But Obviously, we're bringing in Ramsey. I think if we didn't bring in Ramsey, would Nico stay? I still don't think he would have because Gomez is obviously gonna play right back for us, and he's struggling for minutes as it is. But yeah, get him gone and get Ox gone as well. I know he's not the topic of convo, but get them both gone.
I'm glad you got it in.
Any chance you can get Oxlade-Chamberlain out, propaganda is always a good one, Andrew. But yeah, I think at the moment it's Nottingham Forest, Fulham, and Southampton who are interested. I think Southampton's a bad move. I know Livermento's injured, but as soon as Livermento gets caught in, he'll go straight there. And I think Nottingham Forest are going straight back down, even though they're doing okay business. So if I was him, I'd go back to Fulham. I think they've got a bit. I still think they'll go down, but I think they'll go straight back up. So it's I think it's all in Nico Williams' hands. But before we get on to our next topic, if you are new, make sure you leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We stream every single day at 7:30, and we have daily videos for you. And make sure the bell notifications on so you never miss any of them. But our next story is one that's sort of been in the pipeline for ages. Not really many reliable sources coming, but a pretty average source, maybe tier 3, tier 2 at an absolute push. Sport from Spain has said that Liverpool have held talks with Serge Gnabry's entourage, which isn't a surprise because it's Sadio Mane's entourage too. And they see him as a perfect replacement for the departed Sadio Mane and Divock Origi. The Reds trust that negotiations will be smooth after the sale of Bayern Munich. Liverpool and Bayern Munich will lower demands when it comes to dealing with them after the smooth negotiations with Sadio Mane in a deal where he was sold 35 million. Real Madrid also want to join the race. Jay, if I feel like if you get in Serge Gnabry for 35 million, you're losing Takumi Minamino and Divock Origi. We do sort of need someone, another backup player. He can play on the right to bid a competition for Mo Salah. I think it's a good signing if you can get him for that cheap, and he's only 26 as well. I feel like too many people are rarely against this, but I think it's a good deal for me anyway.
Initially, we spoke about this a few months ago before we ever knew Mane was going, and I said I didn't want him as like a marquee signing, so I didn't want us to spend like 60 mil and he's the golden signing of the window, but he's a quality player, mate. Like, he really is top class and he can play anywhere across the front line. I probably wouldn't play him in the middle, but he's more than good enough to play left or right. The only thing is, though, it's all good and well saying Origi's gone and Minamino's gone and Mane's gone. You still need a midfielder. I don't see how you can prioritise signing Gnabry and Nunes and not get a midfielder. The other thing is, Gnabry's not going to come here to be a squad player. Why would he? He's a top-class player. He's going to be a starter at loads of top European clubs are going to want Gnabry, and he'll get a game there properly. If he comes to Liverpool, he can fight for a place, but that is what he'll be doing. He's not a guaranteed starter by any means, and I don't know if you'd spend 35 million on someone who's going to sit on the bench. So I'd really like him. He's a good signing, but he shouldn't be the priority in midfield. It should be.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, he's still, as I said, 26. This season he played over 40 games for Bayern Munich, got 16 goals, 17 goals, and about 10 assists. He's still in his. He might not even be at his peak yet. We saw what he's done to the likes of Tottenham and Premier League clubs in the Champions League. I mean, just the stats at Bayern Munich alone, 171 games, 64 goals and 40 assists. That's a goal or assist every other game, which is not to be sniffed at. I mean, all things considering, we've had the likes of Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz come in as backups, but I don't think you can really call it a backup considering how they have fought for their place and they pretty much were starting within a few months of joining Liverpool. Surely Gnabry could see it as a challenge, and Mohamed Salah's spot is there for the taking, isn't it? After his recent performances, and that's the one position we really need in our depth. I mean, do you think it would be a good deal for us?
Yeah, it's a hard one for me. I think Jay hit the nail on the head that he would be a nailed on starter for most European sides. So I don't know if he'd want to come to Liverpool and fight for a starting position. But I think he's extremely underrated. I think he's a phenomenal player. I mean, he scored 10 plus goals in the Bundesliga for the past 4 seasons. You know, he assists, he creates. I think he'd be a great Klopp player, a great signing. If we could get him for 35 million, I'd say no, like just get him. Like to have that quality in the squad. I think even if he does have to fight for his position, if he's willing to do that, to have that kind of option off the bench or to have him in the rotation would be phenomenal. I'm a little doubtful over the transfer because it seems to me like that would have been worked out with the Mane deal in some way, shape, or form. So for it to be thrown on weeks later, it's like I don't see that happening as much as I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look now. He's on about 115 grand a week at Bayern Munich. I think he was trying to push to Bayern Munich to around 200 grand a week. I mean, and he was just signed Darwin Núñez, who's going to be, I think he's on 140 grand a week. I mean, I think if he can come in and you're giving him maybe, between 150 and 175 grand a week, he's happy with that. He's happy maybe pushing for Salah's place or even on the left if things don't work out for Diaz. I mean, and look, we're losing Divock Origi and Takumi Minamino, and we're not replacing at least one of them. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on potentially going after Serge Gnabry?
I mean, I think anyone would take him, but realistically, he's just not going to get games. I think there's just too much sort of quality from our forwards already. Firmino, what's his name, Jota, they're struggling for minutes as it is, and obviously we just signed Núñez as well. So I can't imagine he's exactly motivated to sit on the bench for half the season. But we'll take him to replace Origi and Minamino any day of the week. But I think Paul Joyce said that Carvalho is going to be brought in as a forward as well initially, and then move into the midfield in the long term. So obviously that's an area where we can discuss as well. But yeah, I think like what Jay said, we just need to focus on the midfield, man. There's no way we look at the forwards and think, well, let's add another one there instead of looking at the midfield and think, oh no, that's strong enough for next season to compete on all four fronts. But yeah, everyone would take him, but realistically, not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you're not going to get a much better option, are you, for the price you're going to pay for Gnabry? I mean, look, Chelsea are battling Arsenal, Tottenham, and Barcelona for 65 million for Rafinha, who's going to want to probably be on a fair decent wage considering how many clubs are interested in him. I mean, you look at that, and surely Serge Gnabry's a better deal. He's only a year younger. He has Champions League experience. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think I'd prefer Serge Gnabry over Rafinha. I know we were linked with Rafinha in the past too.
100% mad. I think it's a bit mad that all these clubs are fighting over Rafinha for 60 mil when Gnabry's there for 30, 35. I like Rafinha. I think he's a really good player, and he suits our system as well. The way he presses, he doesn't have to work hard. But like you've just said, if Gnabry's there for 35, got Champions League experience, Rafinha hasn't. The only thing I can think that maybe is putting a few of the Prem clubs off is just that it didn't work out for him when he was in England. But obviously he was a kid, so you can't really judge him on that much. But that's the only thing I can think of, mate, unless he's asking for some insane wages, because that's definitely a better deal than Rafinha for me. He's more versatile for a start anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, we've already had one Premier League player who wasn't as good in his first stint in the Premier League, and he came back and he become one of the best players in the world, Mohamed Salah. Do you think we could see that if Gnabry was to join? You think he could have a similar impact to Mo Salah?
I mean, I don't know if he's getting golden boot like Salah, but I think he'd definitely be able to come into the Premier League and light it up. You know, he's had experience. He knows what the Premier League's like. He's done it abroad at Bayern and in the Champions League. So, yeah, he'd definitely come back to the Premier League and have a point to prove if that's the case. And yeah, he was a youngster in Arsenal's side, and they haven't had good years for a long time now. So, yeah, I wouldn't judge him off of that stint at Arsenal. Plenty of players have left in the early years after not having success in the Premier League and have gone on to have good careers elsewhere. Salah, De Bruyne, you know, you can go on with lists like that. So I think Gnabry, if he came back to the Premier League, he'd be one of the players to watch in the right club.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, just going through finally a few targets who we are linked with. Obviously, we said Rafinha, who's going to be costing, I think, 60 million, 55, 60 million. Jared Bowen, you know, that's going to probably be a similar price to Rafinha. I can't think who else we're linked with now, but you look at all the targets we've been rumoured to be signing, and, you know, at 26 years old, got a lot more experience than pretty much everyone we've been linked to. And the fact we have a good relationship with Bayern Munich, you know, we basically cut the price for them because Mane wanted to leave. We probably could have easily got another 10 million for Mane if we really wanted to. We've got a good relationship with Roof, who is Mane's and Gnabry's agent. I think he's the Joe Gomez's as well. So all parties have worked with each other in the past. I mean, if Liverpool really did want a right winger, it just seems like Gnabry would be the smart choice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense because let's say Salah does sign his contract as well, then you don't want to have a 60 million player sitting on the bench in Rafinha and Bowen, who's going to only play that right wing position. And like Jay said as well, he's more versatile than the other two as well. He could play left wing. Maybe if Diaz isn't playing well, when say if Salah's not playing well, then he could take either spot. And the thing is, he's actually good enough to start Champions League matches for us as well. Whereas Rafinha, you'd think, can that guy win us a Champions League final if he started? Probably not. Whereas Gnabry, did he score the winner? Or no, he won the Champions League at least with Bayern. But yeah, he's got more than enough quality to kind of join this Liverpool squad. But yeah, I think it's a huge risk if we would spend 60 million on Rafinha, and same with Bowen. But I do like Jared Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, I think he put 4 past Spurs. That was when they won the Champions League that year. He was running riot that season in the Champions League for Bayern Munich. So, you know, he was a key part of that. But look, I've been behind him on the Gnabry train for a while, to be fair, before we were even rumoured with him and before Sadio Mane was linked with a move to Bayern Munich. So if it happens, I'm going to claim that Jurgen Klopp is listening to me. But before we get onto the story why everyone is here, Jude Bellingham, make sure you do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with the bell notification on so you don't miss any of our videos. We stream every day at 7:30 and we have at least one video out every day. But Jude Bellingham, we haven't had an official price rumoured by a reliable source. There's been murmurs of around 100 million, but Sport Build have come out and said that Bayern Munich will only listen to offers above 120 million euros, which is just over 100 million pounds. He's contracted until 2025, and they don't want to lose him this summer, apparently. But Jay, it seems very weird that they're putting a price tag on him this summer and not next summer. Do you think that suggests that they may be willing to listen to offers this summer if someone can meet that 120 million?
I said on Twitter today, I found it interesting if it's true that the Dortmunds have put a price on his head. Because if they have, it suggests that they will go to the table to discuss it. So I think it's one or two things. They're either expecting a bid, so they're telling you, don't bother coming to the table unless it's around this mark. Or they're doing it for next season to say, well, whoever starts the opening bid, it'll be starting at 100 million. And then whoever else wants them, it'll just go on and on type of thing. But yeah, I do find it strange if it's true that they've named a price on his head this season, because that would suggest that they're open to going to the table to discuss it. So if they are, I'll be getting to that table.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, there's 100 million's a lot for a player that would be our record transfer fee. I'm pretty sure Dortmund wouldn't want much in add-ons, so the price up front would probably be our most expensive transfer, eclipsing Virgil van Dijk. Is he worth that? I mean, I think that's the question for everyone. Everyone has their opinion, but do you think Jude Bellingham is worth the 120 million euros that Liverpool would need to spend to sign him?
I mean, I trust Klopp, and if he thinks it's worth it, then ultimately, I'd back him. But personally, I think that's a lot of money to spend on someone 19 years old. Obviously he's a talented player, a lot of potential, has so many, skills in his repertoire. But he had a lot of assists this season. I think it was 8 in the Bundesliga, 3 goals. But is that worth, on the face of it, 100 million pounds? I don't think so. I think you're looking at his potential and gambling on if he'll hit it. Sancho went for big money to Man United. I know it's, he had a complete flop of a first season and it's early days. He could easily turn that around. But, you look at players, I'm talking about United now, but like when Zaha went there, Depay, you look at all these players who came. I know that's United and not Liverpool, but you're taking a big risk with someone who's that young and with that kind of price tag on his head. And we just did that with Darwin Nunez. I think we're building him for the future. And I think it'd be a statement if we signed another player in that realm of Jude Bellingham for that amount of money. I personally would like to have someone with a bit more credibility in his locker. Kind of see how Bellingham develops over the next couple of years, because I think you ride out that contract. If he's leaving at 2005, he'll be like 22, 23, and if he's a boyhood Liverpool fan, he'll always have that in the back of his mind. I think you risk losing him to someone like Real Madrid if they come swooping in, but I just wouldn't spend that amount of money on him at this point in time. Who knows though?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, Drew's mentioned there the lack of inexperience. One player we have been linked to is Inter Milan's Nicolo Barella. He's going to cost 90 million, so very similar price tag. But do you think there is a better option out there than Jude Bellingham?
I think Tchouaméni was probably the number one, but obviously he's gone to Madrid. And I saw a tweet about this actually. So we were all talking on Bellingham and how much Klopp adores him, but we went for Tchouaméni first, and he would have cost 80 million. So it probably says he was our number one target until obviously Madrid swooped in. But I don't think so. I think Bellingham, he's English, so obviously that helps with the squad. But he's just that, he's got that extra bit of quality that not many people his age have, and he's already got the experience as well. He's played Champions League, he's played at the Euros for his country, and he's just that much better than everyone else. And it's not like we're paying 100 million for the finished article or someone we're only going to have for 2 years. It's 100 million spread across like next 10, 15 seasons. So it works out. I'd rather do that than spend 50 million for the next 3 seasons on a player, then replace him with another 50 million player, then just keep Bellingham. I think he's shown it already. He's incredible on the ball, and he's that midfielder we need. He's that extra bit of quality that can help us actually lift that Premier League title.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, look, I've been saying in pretty much every transfer central that we've got Jude Bellingham. I don't think our window's over just yet. I've just got a feeling that Liverpool are going to at least test the waters with Jude Bellingham, because you look at it, you've got Real Madrid who are very interested in signing him next summer for some reason, because he'd be 5th choice, Jude Bellingham. But you've got, I know United, they can't really offer much but money. Man City will be in there. Chelsea will be in there. If we wait until next season, the whole world's going to be after Jude Bellingham. And it just feels like if we were to go in now, we've got a sort of clean run at it, in a sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the best opportunity to go for him, because like you said, next season everyone's probably going to go through him. And I think other clubs have got other priorities right now than getting Bellingham. Madrid have already got too many. Paris should just give Kylian Mbappe a ridiculous contract. I think they're after Renato Sanchez and a couple of others now as well. United, obviously, they're not a club you want to go to now, but anything could happen this season. They could be in the mix next season. City still got an aging midfield. De Bruyne is 31. All the big clubs, mate. Like you said, yeah, this is the best opportunity. I think what I'd like us to do is, even if he doesn't come this year, at least make the bid like data deal. So at least we know we've got him. Do you know what I mean? And when you mentioned Barella as well, if we got Barella and not Bellingham next year, I wouldn't care. I think Barella's world class, to be honest. So if we got one or the other, I'd be happy with either, to be honest. But I think you're right, yeah. Now is probably the best time to try and go for him. And the thing that gets me is I don't understand how we keep saying we're waiting for the perfect player. If Tchouaméni was your number one option and Bellingham was your next one, well, why haven't you gone for Bellingham then? I don't get that. And I think Bellingham poses just as much risk as Nunes, if not less. Because Bellingham's got 2 years of Champions League experience, Nunes has got 1. And he's only had 1 real standout season at Benfica. So I think the Bellingham deal is actually less of a risk than the Nunes one.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, Jay's mentioned, Tchouaméni a couple of times there. We obviously were in for Tchouaméni. There were reports that Liverpool, stepped forward the interest a year early because Tchouaméni come available, and basically we looked odds on favourites to sign him, but the Mbappe deal basically took everything out of control. Only went from 50 million to 100 million in the space of a week. But it does show that Liverpool were interested in a midfielder, and that Jurgen Klopp knows that this side needs a world-class right-sided midfielder. I mean, that's at least a bit of a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm buoyed by the fact that we spent 100 million on Nunez. It shows that we're willing to put money on the table. I don't think it's enough at the rate, right now. But again, like you, I don't think the transfer window's over. I think we're still going to get one more signing in at the very least. I can understand waiting for the right player. In that regards, if you're going to drop 100 million on a player, I wouldn't rush it and get someone else just because you need a player at the moment and not go for your number one target. But when that number one target doesn't become available, it's definitely worth pursuing other options. I just don't know if we could get Jude Bellingham in. I mean, again, it's not my money. If Klopp wants him in, I trust him, and I'd love to see another marquee signing in the window. But I'm curious for other options. Nicolo Barella would also be another great signing. I'm also, as much as I don't like him as a person, I think Christian Pulisic would be an interesting buy at this point with Chelsea, bringing in the likes of Rafinha, and looks like they could bring in Sterling because Pulisic can play, in the forward line. He could also, plays as a 10. I think he could play easily in the midfield as well. Kind of reminds me of Coutinho, but I think there's other options at a much cheaper price at the moment. I know even Gnabry can play midfield. I know he's in that realm as well. I know it's not his preferred position, but it's there. But at the end of the day, I think we need another midfielder, and if we have to wait for Bellingham, I'd prefer it to be kind of like the Keita deal, like Jay said.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, I think that the Keita style deal would be perfect for Liverpool. Signing them now and locking them off so nobody can sign them. You might have to pay a bit extra for him this summer, but next summer, if he has a good season and everyone's coming out for him, it's that price could easily go up to 150 million within the space of a year. So it seems safe to do it. But one of the only issues, really, apart from spending 100 million, is his wages. He's going to have the likes of Real Madrid, of Manchester City, of Man United. They're going to be offering him 300 grand probably, where, the max Liverpool could really offer is 200 grand, but I don't think they'd offer that to a 19-year-old, if I'm going to be honest. Maybe something similar to Darwin Núñez as an absolute max of 140 grand. But, there's reports, a very, very, very credible report that he's a Liverpool fan. So, maybe that could take off a few 100 grand a week. But the wage salary situations are like my biggest worry to complete this deal next year.
It can be, but at the same time, if we look at the Núñez deal, when United were after him, I think he took like a 100k of a wage cut to join Liverpool instead. Not wage cut, just opted for the cheaper option. And I think we've seen players do that in the past, and where they pick the project of just money. And does Bellingham seem like the type just to go to Man United and settle to play Europa League or Conference League every season? Probably not. And I don't know. I think maybe Klopp's already had talks with him. Obviously, Henderson's close with him. He's been wishing him happy birthday today. So I think with all things I consider, he's basically a Liverpool player. Like I just can't imagine an English player wanting to go to Real Madrid. It's not exactly a dream for them. Whereas with like too many these other European players, they sort of grew up watching Real Madrid lift these Champions Leagues and so on. So they're the dream of joining Madrid. But English players, the dream of lifting the Premier League title, and that's Bellingham, and hopefully he picks us over the likes of United and Madrid.
Yeah, definitely. If Jude Bellingham signs, who knows? It seems like we might have to wait until next summer, but we could have a surprise this summer. But guys, that's a bit earlier than I thought. If you get questions, and we'll go through. I'm gonna bring up a few comments of other options. Anyone on the panel, you can just pop your head up and say what you think. But Joshua Kimmich, I mean, we'll buy him, let him go, but it seems like a good option, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a worldie, mate, but there's no way he's going to leave Bayern Munich, is he? It's like saying De Bruyne. Let's get De Bruyne down. Kimmich is at the best club in Germany. He's German, and they win every year. There's no reason for him to want to leave, and he's one of their best players. I'd love him, but it's just not realistic.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, Ruben Neves, here we go.
I mean, he's an interesting option. I just don't think he's the caliber of player at this point that I'd be excited to come in. He's mid-20s. He certainly has a lot of talent, but I'd want someone, with a bigger persona, bigger game behind him coming into Liverpool. I think big fish, small pond is not the right player to go for at that age.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, Iddy saying here that, Dele Alli was a world beater at 19. I mean, could Jude Bellingham have the same fate as Dele Alli has?
I mean, let's hope not. I think Ali had maybe one or two good seasons, but I don't know. Let's not fill our hearts with doubt or whatever. I think Bellingham's going to be a superstar, and he'll be the next Steven Gerrard when he joins us.
Yeah,
that is a very good point, though.
I don't know. I think Dele Alli was a bit of a one-trick pony, and he scored some worldies to make him look good. Like that one against Crystal Palace, I feel like that he lived off that goal for a good 2-3 years, if I'm being honest. I'll just cover some of the rumours. The Endrick links. I think he's joining Real Madrid, as far as I'm aware. Young Brazilian lad. There is one who we've been linked with. Let me try and find it. Marcos Leandro from Santos. Looks like a very good player. A Brazilian pundit is apparently flying to Liverpool to announce it. Reports from Brazil and the USA have both said that, and his passport won't be an issue. So, it's not unreliable has come through, but we'll probably see with that one in a few days. Anyone else? Dembele, it looks like he's going to either be going to Chelsea or Barcelona, staying at Barcelona. He apparently has an offer on the table from Liverpool, but I just don't think he suits Liverpool, if I'm being honest.
Wouldn't go near him.
Yeah, Anthony, do you agree?
His injury record's a bit scary too, but just seems to be a lot of problems with him in the news, and it's just I don't think he's done enough to warrant the wages he'll probably demand for Liverpool, and we've got those positions covered at the moment. I wouldn't risk it on an injury-prone player.
I think I
Barcelona. Sorry, Andy, go ahead, mate.
I think I said on the last stream, I'll take it because his contract's run out, so he'll be free. So I'll take him. But if it's to replace Salah, then hell no. Obviously, he's already got enough injury problems and sort of a bad attitude presented by the media. But yeah, I mean, if it's free, why not?
Yeah, another Bayern Munich one here from KJSJ. Tolisso, he'd be free as well. I rate Tolisso. I think he's a very good sign. I think he has, if my memory hasn't faded, he is a bit of an injury issue, but I think for free you could do a lot worse as a bit of a stopgap.
Yeah, he's a really good player, Tolisso, to be honest. It hasn't worked out for him at Munich, but he's proper versatile as well. He can play at right back. He can play in the 6, 8. I wouldn't play him in a 10, but he can play pretty much most positions in midfield other than the 10, and he can fill in at right back. But I'm pretty sure he's more or less back at Lyon. It's more or less done. Lyon are basically signing all their old squad back. Like I said, Titty, and I forgot who we're talking about. Tolisso. So I think they're all going back to Lyon, having a bit of a school reunion.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony or Drew, I assumed you mean OR, Lyon lad. I feel like he's been moving to Arsenal for the past 7 years, and it just never happened. I think he's available for 20 million. There's got to be something wrong with him for no one to go in from all these years, surely.
He's put up consistent stats in Ligue 1, so I'm surprised no one else has come in and bought him yet. I think you said maybe there's something behind the scenes, but I'd certainly take the gamble on him for 20 mil. That seems like an easy no-brainer at this point. He's 23. He's an exciting player, midfielder, what we need, but yeah, it's a bit, it's a bit curious why no one else has come in for him, but who knows? I'd take him.
One of my mates is an Arsenal fan. He said it's basically the same as Fekir. His brother-in-law is his agent or something, and he wanted an extra 100k on top of his wage or something like that. So I think that's why no one touched him. But yeah, I'll take Tolisso for free.
Yeah. I think he's going to Roma.
Who or what?
Roma have been to for 15 million and they're happy with it. But we spoke about this the other week. So I said he's been an exciting player for years, even from when we were getting Fekir. And said he must have a terrible attitude or something, but the agent being his brother makes sense what Anthony's just said, because it seems like he's been on the market for 4 or 5 years and no one's gone near him, and there is definitely a player there, so it's a weird one, but I think he's going to Roma, so Mourinho will take a punt on him.
Yeah, I think if anyone can change the attitude, it's probably Mourinho, but absolutely not Iddy. Gini Wijnaldum joining Liverpool will never happen ever again, especially considering the fact he's on about 300 grand a week at Paris Saint-Germain. So I think he's going to be stuck there for a good 4 years or whatever his contract is. But finally, anyone want to try and convince us to sign Bowen this summer, or is that maybe one for the future, or is it dead in the water?
I'd take Bowen. Great to have him in the squad. I mean, I think he's proved this past season that he's an excellent player. He can do it in the Prem. I wouldn't spend more than maybe 40, similar to Jota's fee, but yeah, to have another player in the squad who could come in and do a job, that'd be fine with me. I'd take anyone who could add to the quality to the team.
I'll take Bowen as well, but you know what, Charlie? I think you're being a bit too harsh on Salah. I know you're not his biggest fan at the moment, but when you look at like right wingers on the market right now, like who's actually good, and you'd think the names that come up are like Bowen, Rafinha. It's like these players aren't as good as Salah. Salah's like 10 times the next bet, 10 times the player any of these guys are.
I mean, well, look, you can go and watch the debate room, and we've actually got another video about Salah coming up tomorrow. It's basically a debate room. It's a bit more heated between me and Jack because we were in a controlled environment. But I've always said Mohamed Salah was not the player he was when he joined Liverpool. Luis Suarez wasn't the player he was when he joined Liverpool. Fernando Torres wasn't the player he was when he joined Liverpool. Not goal-wise anyway, so, I think you can someone will come in and maybe surprise us like Mohamed Salah did, but you never know. But, I think that I've got through most of the comments, most of the sensible comments anyway. Abraham, we have discussed Nico Williams. It was one of the first things we talked about. So you can go and check out the video when it goes up, but we will be ending the live stream here. Jay, Anthony, Drew, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you go and check out all of their social medias. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Also, leave a like on the video. Make sure the bell notification is on. Head over to our Twitter, all that good stuff. But I've been Charlie. This has been Transfer Central from the LFC Transfer Room.